Punters, g'day. Monday morning. Welcome to a deep dive of the weekend. Pete Anthonisz alongside Jack Dickens, Shane Ciurleo. We're going to run through Caulfield and Eagle Farm. We'll touch on a little bit of Q&A as well. If you want the Sydney show, Kembley Grange review, it's now its own separate show. Once again, Victims of the Punt with Mark Sheen, Mark Roden and Rob Scurry. Get that alongside on Mailbag TV. All right, guys, let's jump into Caulfield to start with. Jack Dickens, if we're looking purely at punting form, the performance of the day was in the feature Sierra Sue in the Group 2 PB Lawrence. That's race 8, minus 11.1. What did you read into that race?
This horse is pretty hard. Like we spoke about on the previous show, I
Yeah.
think. This horse is really hard to catch, and it's very capable. Its win at Flemington was enormous. It knocked us off at Mildura, and then it's come out and knocked off Superstorm in that here, which is like... I think Superstorm's a genuine Group 1 horse. You know, there's a few here, like Curly said on the previous show, which is sort of Group 2s. They've won maybe pinch a couple of Group 1s, but they're more breeders Group 1s. I think Superstorm is legitimately the A grade. I think it was suited by the way the race was run. If you watch the replay, there's a horse that shouldn't have been there, but it was. Just stand by as I quickly do you reckon.
Yeah.
But Bowie Mertens was put in a really tricky spot, and he probably pulled the wrong rein when he handed up to the leader, and then the leader's always going to drop anchor on Bow. So, and then the horse behind them might have been
Samson,
and there's just like that's what I always talk about with being flushed out the back of the surf. Rails and run horses finished probably the last that they did. So Streets of Avalon 1A, do you reckon, handed up and was then coffined, and Samson was third back the fence. They finished last 3. So in this race, the way this race has been run, you want it to be building momentum, and there's no problem to be where Sierra Sue was. It was blessed in the end, but it was a strong win and a good win. I think Angel of Truth makes it a little bit scary. It's a big figure for that horse, I think. Red Can Man just keeps sort of putting in, doesn't it? I don't think it was overly suited versus the way it would like a race to be run, but we spoke about how tricky this speed map looked on Thursday. I thought there was a lot of merit to Superstorm's performance. Big figure, fresh. Big figure, Danny O'Brien. That camp is going to like awful.
Adds to the merit of the run.
100%.
Might as well be trained by you at the minute.
Well, or
Settle
Dennis, anyone. Wonder if you've got more chance of being a successful trainer if you can win on the punt, or if you could coach a premiership in AFL when you had one of the greatest players of all time. Don't know. Yeah, Superstorm's the horse I really want to follow from this race. It's going to be hard to bag Sierra Sue, and it was hard to, like, we didn't bet into the race because we actually had Sierra Sue as a bet just. You know, the prices were very much market, but it was still... It was $8, and you wouldn't think you'd have this horse $8 in this race personally, but we did. The way our sort of automated part of the pricing got us to that point. But yeah, we also had a small overlay Superstorm, and I think maybe Best of Days. So we let the race go from a betting point of view, which I said we'd probably do on Thursday. I think Superstorm's the horse to follow. At Elephant in...
Wait. I just want to throw out one devil's advocate on this race before we move on to Elephant. Angel of Truth has SP'd $31 just as a general SP, settled in a similar spot to Superstorm and beaten at home. Is that a little bit of a question mark? I think it's a pass personally for Superstorm, but I don't think it's much more than that.
I don't know what to do with this Angels of Truth run, to be honest. But if you look just at Superstorm, I know we're trying to keep this show short, but... I'm just on cue. This thing doesn't load. Jeez, I'm not having a good few days here.
I'm never going to miss the potential opportunity to give Bob a drive by Dickens.
Well, I really like the work. I really like its work late. Like, Angel of Truth come home quicker than it, but like they both come home really strongly. And if you look at the build of Superstorm when you're using your puntingform.com.au, which if you're watching the show and you're not, I can't help you. Like it's put together a really strong 4-2 and a really strong 2 home and slightly increased. I like that first up. I don't think there was a lot of intent there, but like he certainly wanted to find out how good this horse was. Ollie, you could tell on the straight. You know, Yeah, and you can make an argument for either case, but I just think Angel of Truth just sort of run like a big late figure off not much of a tempo, and I don't think it's as genuine a pony, I guess.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
All right, let's have a look at the Elephant, which is first of all just probably one of the great names in racing at the moment.
Yeah, Kiss. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Stupid. Beautiful name.
It's a former Kiwi. It's just come out completely brained a field first start in Australia. Big figure, second biggest of the day.
Of the day or the date?
Of the day.
I don't know if this is he, but it sat on a really strong speed, maybe the fastest speed all day. Yep, fastest early tempo of the day, and it sort of bounded off it. Big performance. It's a big number already. First up, fresh. It's a good horse by the judging of that, like the tempo that it handled early, and then it just gapped them late. I think it was certainly no disadvantage to settle forward of midfield. Ingratiating, which we'll get to, swoop from last, but it was also 4 lengths off the leader. You know,
yeah.
It wasn't like Caulfield favours on pace horses. That's what it does. So I think this Elephant's genuinely pretty good. Like there's a lot of merit to the way it won. Say a Bella Nipotina. Like completely blessed. I would be against it next start for sure. And the fascinating horse from a betting point of view, like holy shit. Second slip was 5s out to 10s basically in the last 5 minutes of betting, and has like destroyed them.
Yeah, was there any reason for it getting out to that price given?
Well, in
jock and trainer combo for a start.
Well. It got out, like it wasn't a bet, and it got out past a bet for us. But I expected it to sort of might miss the start, or it might be 4 wide no cover, or it might pull up lame, or like it was a big drift. That's 5s to 10s. That's huge, and it's just pissed in. Maybe the market was against the horse because of like it threw Mark Zara last week or the week before. But
yeah.
Still. And then we'll quickly touch on the 3-year-olds. Ingratiating is a much better horse than Gimme Pa, and I think the data here backs that up. There's still a lot of scope for some of these to improve, but I really like this Ingratiating. If that generation sort of jumped out pretty well, I thought, and was hard to sort of get rid of, but I like the jump outs of Ingratiating, and I sort of regret not pulling the trigger. Was slightly concerned, Matt, but it didn't matter. I think it was aided by the way the race was run, like the slow tempo, and they tried to hold them up. The two leaders both thought they could win, so they didn't want to take each other on. That allowed Ollie just to sneak up outside him and be way too strong late. I think this horse is good. I think the Animo form's strong. Yeah, just a nice horse, Ingratiating.
Okay, so it's coming out of that.
Colts have the edge over the fillies at this point in time.
Very early days. We often talk about how the Golden Slipper's historically not a form reference. Well, Animo's come out and won the following start. Obviously, that was last preparation. Ingratiating's kicked off quite nicely, so there's a few there.
And also, congratulations to P. Moody, who finally, after returning to racing, I don't know when, maybe a year ago, feels like this first time they've landed a big steamer. They've tried and tried and tried. This thing was absolutely off a cliff and pissed in Gimme Pa, so well done to whoever's been doing it. Surprised you've still got any cash left.
What are we making of that race? Because fast tempo and the figures lesser than Ingratiating's. As you said,
yeah, that's why I don't like it. That's what I don't like. Yeah.
Was there any excuses back in the field in the fillies?
I think it's pretty hard to run on. I think it's pretty hard to run on all day.
Mm.
You could cut if you're at home. I'm not going to do it for you. Get your punting form. Cut down the sections of the race, like the old school, the numbers or the 200 metres, the breakdown of the leader in both races. You'll see why it's probably easy to lead and win, or be near the front and win the fillies race, and harder to do that in the boys race.
All right. So you're not going to follow anything coming out of the fillies. There's a couple of big splits there going through the line with Nudge Marty, Hirsi, Libiamo. They've all done reasonably well late.
I think you can follow Nam Shmarty, put it in your black book, but you're going to, I think we're favourite to take unders next start.
Yeah.
Even the great man, the Golden Tonsils, Mark Sheen was talking about it, on Twitter. That just, All the robots out there just put it in, and half of them put in a black book that's owned and run by a bookmaker. So
you could, I think, equally follow this Libiamo.
It was good, wasn't it? We
Yeah.
backed it, like a small bet off a really nice trial. Just not suited by the way the race run, was it?
Yeah, but I think its splits were equally as good as Najmati. Full stop.
But you could do a whole show on how you rate and value run-ons in that type of tempo race,
Yeah.
couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And quite often it's in the first part of the race where they lose it, so to speak, as opposed to late. All right, very good. Are you following anything in particular out of the meeting? Is there anything that you're happy to throw out there into Punterland?
Oh, I think Hearsay's a nice horse. Like, of the fillies, Hearsay, Libiamo, but particularly Namjadi, but they're all going to be price dependent next start.
Yeah.
I'm worried Namjadi Najmati will be overbet. And I really want to be with Superstorm, which will probably be overbet too, to be honest. But if I went to Flemington or somewhere, I'd be pretty horned up.
I just realised that Hearsay's the thing that we backed in Morfordville earlier in the year. You forget these things when you get Alzheimer's. All right, let's go to Eagle Farm. That's the place. Curls, the performance of the day on puntingform.com.au was Champagne Auntie in race 7 with a figure of minus 8.5. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, look, I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. It's ho-hum off-season racing in Queensland is pretty boring and lacks any horses with any real ability. Obviously, Steve Tregay has his team going well. I've said this 100 times. He trained Incentivize, won 100 in a row. He trained Eloquently, which won 6 in a row, I think, at the back end of a 3-year-old campaign. And now Champagne Arnie is the next horse that's come along and continues to win through its grades. I think there was a bit of a pattern established at some point in time where it was decided it's hard to make ground. A couple of things that I'm a little bit on the fence with here. Number one, slow horses running at a meeting on a firm track in Queensland where the weather's warming up and the tracks are getting a bit firmer. So basically the first, and tempo is the other thing as well. So they got the first 4 races on the card, very slow, slow, and very slow tempos. So when you've got average horses that land in their spots, average horses can't run on and run past other average horses on firm decks a lot of the time. So that's what I think I'm seeing, more so than any obvious massive pattern or bias. And then you've got a horse like Champagne Arnie, who was, the dangers in the race were sort of ridden to beat it more than ridden to run to their best. And Champagne Arnie led and ran them into the ground and had some slow horses chasing it,
Yep.
That was all there was to it. Superior effort. The rest, well, they've sort of just got the right runs, landed in the right spots. I think something else that we'll continue to see over the next few weeks is 3 kilo apprentices getting rides on the best horses in the race, using that weight claim to put them on speed and win more often than not. Kyle Wilson
That's a great point, because I think it's cooling down in Queensland, so the big guys will cool down and the young keen apprentices will come to the fore. They're complete opposite in Melbourne. It is time to avoid backing apprentices at almost all cost. Rely on the Cars, the Olivers, the D-Lanes, the Craig Williams, Mark Zara if he gets back. I don't know where he's holidaying, how he got out, but it's that good he probably did. Mellum. Like, these guys will start dominating. Like, we backed Zesty Bell on Saturday, and it's just tactically inept. It was poor. It probably wasn't the rider, it's probably the stable, but you just want to be putting your money in Melbourne on seniors, but for the last 3 months, you've wanted to put your money, or you're happy to put your money on the apprentices because the market doesn't respect them, and that's just about to flip into that up in Queensland.
So we'll see Kyle Wilson-Taylor return to the ranks shortly. He's got a suspension. So you'll have 2 kids in particular that all the Queensland Brisbane trainers love, 3 kilo claimers in town, and we'll have Jaden Lloyd and Kyle Wilson-Taylor getting on a lot of favourites in the next 6 to 8 weeks before over this sort of winter, back end of winter, early spring, and then we'll see some better horses come along a lot to get ready for our summer. But over the next sort of 2 months, I think we'll see them ride a lot of winners.
Now, importantly, you won on Saturday, so we can talk about it. You're invited to go down to the Gold Coast and just sort of rip and tear and put on a show, which you said yes to before they finished asking. You got yourself down there. Your valet took you. You updated the boys. Like, I stopped paying attention like about after I saw the valet, so there's going to be a big day, and I don't need the head noise. I just need to focus. Fill me in. How was it? How'd you go? And you would have dominated, but like how dominating were you?
Yeah, leg in the air really was the margin. I was that good. I don't want to go into a lot of detail because we're trying to keep the show punchy. So I'll start and finish the story with how I finished the night. So the young fella's gone back to the room a bit early because he's only a little pup rolling with the big dogs, which is sort of, you'd expect that.
Did you send him because he's driving the next day?
Yeah. Anyhow, so I lob in the hotel. Good and big thanks to Peppers Broadbeach for putting me up. Lobbed into the hotel. I had no idea what room I was in. I had a room key, but no idea with the room number. So I'm ringing the young fella, no answer. Keeps going to message bank, so his phone's dead. No one at reception. So I was like, what am I going to do now? Well, there's only one thing you can do, and that's roll over to the couch into the reception and park up and have a sleep. Around about 4-ish, 5-ish, the security guards come in and wake me up and sort of try to work out what I'm doing here. And then he eventually fired up the computer and found which room I was in and escorted me to my room, and all's well that ends well. But there was a lot of shenanigans in between that. One thing I did learn. I had a good yarn with Michael Morrison, who's the foreman for Michael Costa, and Michael Costa was there as well after the races and had a few beers and whatnot. And the whole room is lobbed into Fobator, however you pronounce it. The Group 2 winner that both Roden and Scurry were all over in the Missile Stakes last week. The boys have all loaded into their accounts to back it to win the Memsies in the all-in markets. So
The Memsie?
The Memsie Stakes or something. That's a race in Melbourne.
In Victoria?
This Saturday, I think. Is it this Saturday? I'll check.
This coming week. I'm not sure whether it can get there or what the COVID restrictions are or whatever, but anyway. Christ. That's one thing I do remember. That and signed up to play footy next year, which will be good.
What day do they play on?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really get into any detail. All I know is it's the 45 and overs, and I turn 45 next year, so I qualify.
I think it'd be sweet. There's no way they're letting the 45 and overs take the main deck on a Saturday at 2 p.m. They're probably playing on a Thursday night or a Sunday morning.
They train Wednesday nights, and then it's like Sundays or something. I'm not sure. But
what position would you play?
I told them that
sneaky forward pocket who doesn't chase.
I'll be coming off on and off the bench after one effort, and I'll be looking for the one handball over the top so I can kick a goal. Basically, that'll be me.
Joe the Goose.
What are you, right-footed?
Either.
Are you right-footed and the left bag's average? That's what I'm guessing.
Oh, bloody hell.
Nah, I'm adaptable to both, but prefer my right. Yeah.
You're the Jason Ackermanis of the real estate world. Wait.
I'm not going that good.
Quickly, this is your question.
Okay. The Memsie is the 28th of August, for what it's worth. So that's next Saturday. Viewer question, Q&A from...
Saturday week.
From Zach. Hey, lads. Just a question of what rules you have personally put in place to manage, protect your bank during positive and negative runs.
Yeah. Best bit of advice I got was always chase your losses. They can't run forever.
Oh, dear.
You are a fucking idiot. You are a I can't believe how sharp he is off the back of Saturday. I didn't think we'd see him until Wednesday. It's a very good question. I think maybe the key is to not sort of change anything. And if you burn the bank, you're going to burn there's no point. It's such a deep question.
I know we have spoken about this with Roden before in terms of adjusting your bank, whether it be on a monthly basis or on a 3 monthly basis, however you want to do it, and adjust proportionally to the percentage
But
of the bank.
at some point, your bets are going to be so small, like at the starting bank size, that you can't really go down from there.
Yeah.
So if you blow it up, you blow it up, or you'll be betting like, there's no point to it. You're not going to win enough. I'd say on a bad run, you might turn it back to that starting point, which I've done. Or it might be a week where I will have like a lot on and a lot of other pressures. So this week, I've had a bit of a shit weekend. I'll turn my units down slightly probably because I don't need the pressure of, like personally, like I'm quite aggressive with mine. So I probably will turn that down slightly this week. But that's not because of a run. It's just because I don't want to deal with it as much. But the biggest positive thing I've done recently, I think you guys will all be the same, is with the growth of the mailbag and the more quality information we've got on board, is betting all the information consistently limits your variance because you're riding like 7 or 8 ways instead of just one. And like we woke up this morning, particularly Curly and I, to a stupid amount of money just in our Betfair accounts because of the caddies golf mail. So like while we slept, I lost 3.5 units I think for the week. I lost 15 units Friday to Saturday, didn't bet Sunday. So I had a pretty bad real run. And I've got all that and more back just those 2 days, just from like golf while I was asleep, that I didn't even really realise would have finished yet. I got up to watch it at 5 a.m.
I think if you're willing to send in a question to the show to ask that sort of question, you obviously care about it. I've said this before, buy that book, Fortune's Formula, read about staking plans and learn as much as you can, and then you've got to use what works for you. As you said, Jack, you turn your stakes down a little bit if you're having a bad run, but if you understand different staking plans, you're either betting to win a percentage of your bank, betting a percentage of your bank, or whatever it may be. If you stick to percentages, you won't go broke, but as you said, that you'll end up betting peanuts if you're on a bad run, and that's what you've got to work it out for yourself. So I think you just got to educate yourself as much as you can and read about staking formulas and how it works. Understand the maths of it if you care enough. Yeah, it's a good place to start.
Anything to add, Pistol?
No. If you trust your rated prices and you bet off those, I think that's probably a strong way to begin. If you're not confident with your rated prices, bet to win an X amount. I think it's just a simple way of keeping things. And then you can work out in your head, do you want to have 1,000 on a horse at $2 to win the same? It makes it pretty logical then. Do you actually want to have this much cash on a horse?
Very good point. A lot of people find it easier to have $50 on a $40 chance to collect 2,000 than $1,000 on a $2 chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn the maths and you'll be back in the $2 chance.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Week ahead for you both. Dickens, I've got yours here. You've got...
I've got no idea.
Pakenham tomorrow. Yeah. Royal Sandown Wednesday. Good.
Thank God.
Bull
Thank the fucking
Thursday.
gods.
Friday, you've got Bendigo.
That's good.
Saturday, Wangaratta and the
What?
Valley. Wangaratta and the Valley.
Excited for the Valley. That's 3 tracks I like.
Sunday, Swan Hill and Sale.
I like Sale.
So it looks like a nice week for the Jacks, for Dickens and Oldham.
Sounds like we've basically got the Thursday off. What was on Thursday?
The Bull.
Yeah, unlikely. Maybe a couple of maidens, but are they jumping? Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. Curls, anything for yourself?
Yeah, look, last week I had Friday off, even though they raced at Ipswich, and I think I was able to bet better on Saturday because I just felt I was more across it. You get those. And we've got this again this week. But this glutton meetings: Aquis, Desert on Tuesday, Doomben Wednesday, Rocky Thursday, Ipswich Friday. If you're betting all those meetings, I'm not getting across those 3 meetings as well as I felt like I could have. The 3 Saturday meetings, so. I'll bet Doomben Wednesday, and then Saturday it'll be Gold Coast, Eagle Farm, and Toowoomba again. That's a rhythm that I think works, and that's what I'm going to stick to this week.
All right, beautiful. Meanwhile, in WA, Mounting Yard Mail Wednesday at Belmont. We've got Thursday at Pinjarra, and then Saturday at Belmont. It's all very simple at the moment. All right, guys.
How many units are you in this week, Peter?
I don't know. You lose count after it hits greater than 1.
I've been hanging out with Shane too long, you know. Righto. Peter's flying still. If you're not on board with Pistols,
We can't help you.
I really can't. Oh, no, I'd worry about you too.
It's almost like buying an insurance policy because you know you're going to win units with pistol late Saturday.
Yeah, and like we steamed into something. I double pressed all the Toowoomba shit. And the last bet of the night was 10 o'clock here, I reckon.
Yeah, it was late.
And it won. It was glorious. Anyway, you do you.
Thanks, everybody.
Merch arrives this week. Watch the Thursday show. We're all going to be looking very schmick. Even Mark.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
And bye for now.
Talk soon. I've got to grab this call.
See ya.
Get the Platinum Pack and bet with us every single day.